So just a few days ago, after I posted my Galaxy Z Fold 6 review, my SIM left the Samsung device and I had a choice to make. Was I going to put it back into my Pixel Fold or my OnePlus Open? And because I wanted to kind of see what the Pixel Fold 2 is going to be like, and I also wanted to see what a normal phone-esque foldable with a wider cover screen would be like, I put my SIM back into the OnePlus Open, and I was immediately enjoying myself, immediately reminded why I do prefer this device over the Galaxy Z Fold 6. But today, as you may be aware, due to a video that I've already posted, an update has rolled out to this device. And this update, the 820 update, the last three digits on the update number, it's been out in other regions for a while, and I cannot believe that this has not been talked about. Maybe I am crazy. I probably am, but there is a change that I believe snuck its way in like a Trojan horse in this update. And let me just tell you guys, because of this change, my SIM has left the OnePlus Open and is back home in the Pixel Fold. So to demonstrate this, I have my OnePlus Open and I have my Pixel Fold. Once upon a time, only a few hours ago, these two devices behaved the exact same way in the condition that I'm about to show you as of a couple of hours ago, a few hours ago. They no longer behave the same way. The OnePlus Open, I think, has diverged into a bad direction. So we have two applications open on both of these, the Play Store and Wise. What we're going to do is we're going to go one layer deeper into each of these applications. So we're going to go like this in both of them. So now we're one layer deep so that if I go back, there's some place to go back on. On my Pixel Fold, let's say I'm moving around and scrolling on the Google Play Store. So this is the last application that has been in focus. It's the last app that has been interacted with. If I then come over here and I do a back swipe, a swipe in to go back, what will happen is I will go back on Wise, even though this was the last app that I acted on. Similarly, if this is the last app that I interact with, and I swipe back over here, I will still go back over here. The back gesture is dependent upon the app that you are doing that back gesture on. That is how the OnePlus Open used to function. But again, as of this update this morning, it seems to be the case that that is no longer how it works. So again, last app that we have touched is now the Google Play Store. Let's go back on Wise, and we have gone back on the Google Play Store. Now, if you are a fan of Samsung devices like the Z Fold 6, you may be familiar with that because that is exactly how those devices work. I don't like it on Samsung devices. I don't like it on my OnePlus Open. I don't know why they have changed this. Now, as I'm making this video, I'm experimenting with this device. I'm continuing to discover strange things that it is doing. So, same scenario, but we're going to go a layer deep in the Play Store, and then let's go another layer deep in the Play Store, and then let's go another layer deep in the Play Store. But now we're going to swipe back, as you can see, on the right side. We go back on the Play Store. But now watch what happens if I go back on the right side again. I went back on Wise, and I closed it. So for some reason, it seems like this behavior where it ignores which side you're swiping on, which app you're acting on top of, only happens the first time, and then it reverts to the old behavior. Let's further test this. Let's throw Wise back up. We're still a couple layers deep in the Play Store. Let's go a couple layers deep in Wise, and we're going to swipe back on the left side, which should go back on Wise. Now let's swipe back on the left side, and that's going to go back on the Play Store. Now let's swipe back on the right side. That went back on the Play Store, and my brain is completely broken. And this makes me seriously consider and wonder if this is not a bug that has been introduced. I cannot imagine that this is how they intend on this to function, because it is inconsistent and very strange. My advice to you is that now not only do you need to tap the app and then swipe to go back, if you have to go back again, you now need to tap it again and then swipe to go back. What an absolute disaster. So pretend with me for a moment that what I just showed you isn't a thing and that OnePlus hasn't implemented something that is apparently buggy and extremely inconsistent. This is how this works for a Samsung device. The last app you address, the last app you touch, it is now basically in focus, and then whatever side you swipe back on is going to be acting on that app. So it basically becomes a button. For a long time, Android devices, that's what they had. They just had buttons. There was a back button, so of course it didn't matter. There's only one button, so you press it, and whatever app you last used, that's going back. So that's kind of my problem with this, is that we have gestures, okay? So if you want to scroll, you touch the app and you scroll. If you want to go into something, you tap it. All these touch gestures occur directly onto the target application. So it bugs me that in this one instance, we have a gesture, as you can see, I'm swiping back on the right-hand side, that behaves as though it's a button. It's the inconsistency that bothers me. To me, the best argument for why Samsung does things the way that they do and why OnePlus may also be adopting that is not the argument that says, we use buttons for a long time and this one action should act like a button even though it's a gesture and it's the only one that does that. To me, that's complete and total nonsense. I think a far stronger argument is the fact that devices like the OnePlus Open and the Z Fold can have more than 2 apps on the screen at once. That being said, I think if you're like a Samsung device and you have 1 app on the left and 2 apps on the right, you can still simply swipe back on the app that you are wanting to go back on. The only place where this truly becomes an issue is if you insert a floating window. For that use case, you're either going to have to put a little back button up there in the handle, or you would have to tap the app to bring it into focus, and then a back gesture on either side would take it back. But I'm okay with having a small exception with floating windows and then everything else be uniform. Now with Open Canvas, things get even more complicated because you can have an app that is effectively going off the screen either to the left, to the right, to the top, or to the bottom. And in that instance, again, it may be necessary to tap on an app, bring it into focus, and then do the gesture. And that may very well be why OnePlus is making this change. I just also don't happen to think that that is necessary or that that really makes a lot of sense. Even with 3 applications open and 1 going off the screen, you could still do the same thing, right? A back gesture over here would act on YouTube. A back gesture over here should act on Wise, but instead, as you can see, it is just throwing the Play Store over. So then it would shift. It would be back on the Play Store, back on Wise. If you want to go back on YouTube, you need to bring it into the forefront anyways at that point. Back on YouTube, back on Wise. And if you expand one of these applications, so now it's down here, same thing. Back on Wise, back on the Play Store, down here. Either way, it would be back on YouTube because it is the only thing on the screen. And if you expand another one, back in either direction would act on Wise. Come over here, now back on the left side is going to be the Play Store, and this would be the same. I hope that that makes sense. To me, that is more logical than having to constantly tap the app I want to go back on. You're adding an additional action to everything you're doing. If I'm doing something over here in Wise and I want to go back in the Play Store, I have to tap the Play Store and then go back. It's just an additional thing you have to do, and there's not a good reason for it. Now look, I've said a lot of things in this video with very, very strong words. I've said things like there's not a good reason for it. I've said things like it makes no sense at all. And let me be very clear about this. This is all my subjective opinion, okay? I'm speaking from my opinion. Yes, I'm speaking authoritatively, but that is because I know my opinion better than anyone else. So I will speak authoritatively about my opinions on this thing. You are totally free to disagree with me. To this point, I've had this conversation with people a whole bunch of times. No one has ever given me an argument that sways my opinion at all on this. And it's not because I'm incapable of changing my opinion. I've changed my opinion on several things, most recently on the cover display whole issue there with the Z Fold devices. I very openly admitted that I was wrong about something and changed my opinion. This is a place where I cannot imagine anyone ever convincing me that the Samsung way actually makes sense. And the other part of this is, no matter how long I used a Z Fold device, my brain never rewired itself. It always expected the back gesture to work on the app I'm doing the gesture on top of. So that's probably got a lot to do with it as well, just my own neuro wiring and proclivities. But guys, This is what I think about this. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments down below. Also, confirm to me that this change has happened to your device as well. If you think I'm wrong, you can absolutely tell me that I'm wrong and give me your reason why you think that I'm wrong. But at any rate, guys, thanks for watching. Subscribe for more content just like this. And until next time, stay nerdy, my friends.